We all know that Donald Trump's health is rapidly declining, so stipulated. His cognitive and physical functions are rapidly deteriorating. Well, Iran has launched a psychological operation to torment Donald Trump, who already had pathological issues, malignant narcissism, and other massive defects. Now, with his rapid health decline, Iran knows the perfect ways to torment him, to make him terrified, to haunt him at night. And Iran is continuing to utilize its psychological profile on this cognitively deteriorating thing in the Oval Office in order to get the upper hand. Let me show you some concrete examples where Iran has been implementing psychological tactics and creating a feedback loop in order to test these things out on Donald Trump, to escalate the torment, to escalate the fear and the terror. So Iran enlisted a team of psychiatrists, psychologists, other PhDs to study Donald Trump's demented pathology. Remember, DropSite reported on this back in mid-June, right around the time where Donald Trump said he was doing the Memorandum of Understanding, which didn't last very long, and he would on and off again say, we're going to escalate, and then we're going to make a deal, which is basically what he continues to do right now. Iran diagnosed Donald Trump with severe mental illness. I don't think they actually needed a massive team of psychiatrists to diagnose him with that, although our media here and people here in the United States are afraid to say that. I also don't want that to be a kind of crutch for Donald Trump to avoid liability, avoid the Hague. But look, I think in my opinion, it seems pretty obvious that he has severe malignant narcissism, and with his rapidly deteriorating cognitive and physical condition, in my opinion, I think there is real mental issues there that are deeply, deeply severe. So what Iran did, though, which was advanced, is they wanted to test out how you can basically torment him in this psychological state. And so this kind of on again, off again, seesaw of, I'm gonna blow the effing S out of them. Oh, they're very nice and I want to make a deal. Iran knows that that's Donald Trump's kind of demented personality, but they're doing things to kind of play on that. And when Donald Trump kind of ramps it up with the rhetoric, Iran will do certain things. So like the other day, people are like, Iran did a surprise attack in Jordan and no one saw it coming. Well, there's a war going on. I mean, I know Donald Trump likes to pretend that there are like rules to this where Donald Trump strikes first, then Iran responds, then Donald Trump strikes. And so here, Iran responded, but then Iran hit Jordan as Donald Trump was, out there saying, I'm going to blow up their bridges. Iran's like, okay, let me take out some more U.S. equipment in the Muwafiq Salty base in Jordan. I'm going to send a message that we are not afraid of you. I'll get to that also in a moment. But one of the things that Iran recently did is Iran has a great team of hackers. They're called Handala. And they were actually some of the original hackers who got into Ehud Barak's emails, and actually they released the original batch of Epstein files. Did you know that? Handala, Iran's hackers, they went right into Ehud Barak's emails, saw all of these connections with Epstein, and were really one of the first to, this was like a year and a half ago, we were reporting on this. DropSite reported, other people reported on it as well, but they dumped out all these Epstein files before the actual Epstein files were released. Like a year in advance. That's what Handala did. So what Handala obviously did, and most, you don't need experts to tell you this, is they likely hacked into Minnesota's water system. Why Minnesota? Because they know that Donald Trump hates Minnesota. So what Iran wanted to test out is we're going to hack into Minnesota, and maybe we'll focus on other blue states and blue cities that Donald Trump hates. And we'll start building wedges between Donald Trump and the city and within the intelligence agencies themselves. We don't even have to really disable the water systems per se, but we'll hack into them. We'll leave some breadcrumbs to show it was Handala, to show it was Iran, and then we'll watch Donald Trump attack the state or attack the blue city. It's precisely what happened, right? The New York Times article, U.S. sees Iran as likely behind a cyber attack on Minnesota water systems. Investigators caution that the investigation is preliminary, but according to U.S. and state officials, they believe it was Iran. Local officials reported that the well and treatment plant in at least one city was temporarily offline on Monday, but all indications were that this was Iranian hackers who were behind this. Now, remember what we were just talking about, and Caroline Bueno, PhD, she points this out. One of the things that Iran did in targeting Minnesota was to show that Donald Trump would attack Minnesota and not blame Iran for the hack. And so at Camp David, right as Donald Trump was like, we're going to blow the FNS out of Iran and we're going to escalate, right? He leaked to CBS that U.S. is going to escalate. He leaked to the Wall Street Journal, U.S. is going to escalate. Well, he was asked about the reporting that Iran hacked into Minnesota's water system, and it's a big deal. And Donald Trump's response was, nah, it's Minnesota. I blame it on Minnesota. They're so grossly incompetent. So I want you to think about this. Iran psychiatrists, psychologists, PhDs, they came together. They sculpted up this. I'm giving you my opinion, but all the data points point to this. Go after Minnesota. Watch Donald Trump attack Minnesota. And so you get a compounding impact for a relatively minor hack, still a serious hack, but get Trump to attack the blue city and create this division and build these wedges within the United States. Watch Donald Trump's response when he was asked about Minnesota. Let's play it.
Yeah, I just want to mention that we heard in Minnesota there was a cyber attack, and they blame it on Iran. I don't think so. I blame it on Minnesota because they're grossly incompetent. There was a cyber attack of 30 water plants, and I would blame it on Minnesota and the governor, the corrupt governor of Minnesota. They like to say, oh, it was Iran. Iran should be so lucky. Iran's got bigger problems than worrying about Minnesota.
And so Iran is aware, like we're aware here, right? So we're aware here, Iran's aware that the U.S. THAAD interceptors and Patriot interceptors stockpiles have been depleted. I mean, we are at a we are crisis mode when it comes to these interceptors. And so one of the things that Iran will do is, first, I believe they're sending decoy ballistics as well in order to draw out these THAADs and to draw out the PAC-3, the Patriot interceptors. Sometimes I think they send decoy drones as well. We don't even need to have like the actual bombs on them. Just send them over and draw out each THAAD. $12.5 million. $12.5 million. Each PAC-3. $4.5 million. So even if, like, the U.S. brags, we struck down an Iranian Shaheed, okay, with $50 million, okay, think about what we could have used $50 million with here. And so one of the things that Iran does, right, almost like a mosquito, right, that's but a mosquito with malaria, and it's a deadly mosquito. Look, the U.S. military is big. Trump is incompetent, grossly incompetent. You can't deny the U.S. military is big. So think about these Iranian ballistics and Shaheeds as like mosquitoes with malaria. Poke, 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 poke. Draw out the THAADs, draw out the THAADs, draw out the Patriot, the interceptors. And you just do that and you spread them all out. And then you actually, Iran has these missiles that are able to avoid them, and you're able to actually hit these bases. And Iran, let's be clear, Iran has hit a lot of these bases very, very, very freaking hard. But they do it also to kind of torment Trump. It's like, bzz, 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 and he's out there, like swatting all around, and they're getting in his freaking head about what do I do? What do I do? Even state regime media Fox is reporting, look, the Pentagon is confronting a growing reality after months of fighting in Iran. America's stockpiles of defense interceptors are shrinking so much. We're in crisis mode. Military planners are weighing, is it even possible to escalate for more than a day or two more at this point, based on how grossly incompetent this war has been mishandled? Iran's strategy, this is what state regime media says. I agree with them. Target U.S. bases, force them to deplete its advanced missile defense interceptors, and then leave them more vulnerable for other attacks. Trita Parsi explains the following. As news came that Trump was striking Iran in retaliation for the Iranian surprise strikes in Jordan this past week, Zedio published my piece explaining the likely logic behind Iran's attack, why Iran expected Trump to retaliate, and they're not deterred. They're not afraid of Donald Trump, as I call Donald Trump now, reflecting pool boy. They're not afraid of reflecting pool boy who's going to go, oh, it's the vandals, oh, it's the this, it's the that. They're not afraid of that. In fact, they want to draw out the crazy. The more they can draw out the crazy and get Donald Trump to break, their team of psychiatrists are like fist bumping. Like, yeah, that's what we want to do. He blamed Minnesota. Yeah. Right. And then they can get him to be like, I'm going to blow the effing S out of you. I mean, just think about like an argument with someone that you may be having. Right. And you're like, you speak, come on. And then finally, like, have you ever been in an argument with someone and then they break and they're like, just shut the F up. Just shut the F up. Right. That's what Iran, they're doing a version of that. And so, Iran knows that he was going to react like that, but they want him just to be frazzled.
This episode is sponsored by iRestore. If you've been thinking about upgrading your hair or skincare routine, iRestore makes it incredibly easy to work red light therapy into your day at home. I've been using the iRestore Illumina face mask, and what I really like is how simple it is. I can throw it on while I'm working, watching TV, or just relaxing. I actually throw it on a lot while I'm editing videos for Meidas, and it doesn't feel like another chore added to my routine. iRestore has been a leader at red light therapy for over 2 decades now, and it's trusted by more than 500,000 customers worldwide. The iRestore Elite uses 300 lasers and 200 LEDs to help regrow thicker, healthier hair in as little as 3 months, and the Illumina face mask is lightweight and cordless with 360 LEDs and triple wavelength light therapy targeting fine lines, breakouts, and dullness in just 10 minutes a few times a week. iRestore is offering some huge discounts on their red light therapy devices. Right now, you can save on customer favorites like the iRestore Elite helmet and the Illumina face mask. Just head to iRestore.com and use code TRUTH. That's TRUTH, TRUTH, at iRestore.com. Again, just head to iRestore.com and use code TRUTH. That's TRUTH at iRestore.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Give your hair and skin the upgrade they deserve so you can feel confident and refreshed.
And they've combined this with the death threats on him all over Iran. And he knows this. They've put the billboards of kill Trump all over the billboards of Iran. I mean, they've got they got some crazy billboards with freaking people choking and suffocate. I mean, they know exactly what he fears. They know the type of death that he fears. And they're doing the photos and the videos of it, and they are freaking in his head. I'll give you the data points right now as well. When Donald Trump called state regime media Fox this week, I'm gonna beat the effing shit out of blah, blah, blah. You watch that, you're like, this is the president of the United States, or is this like a awful drunk at the local pub who needs to go to prison, right? Just think of that's how Trump's like. He's like it's ironic because he says he doesn't drink, but he's like the local drunk, rah, 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 right? And it's frazzling him. Watch what he told Trey Yingst over in state regime media Fox. Let's watch it.
Yeah, guys, good morning. President Trump reacting to that Iranian attack on U.S. forces overnight in Jordan. President Trump tells Fox News about Iran, "We are going to beat the effing S out of them." He went on to say, "We'll be hitting them hard. They're going to get a beating." So clearly the United States is going to respond to what the president described as a surprise attack. He says U.S. forces had just minutes to shoot down these incoming Iranian ballistic missiles. The president.
And then you'll remember with all of these death threats. I mean, everywhere they go, Iran's like, we're going to kill him. We're going to, that's what Iran says. Remember when Donald Trump was at the NATO summit, he's like, I'm #1 on their death list. I'm #1 on their kill list. Yeah. And this is when Iran looks at, when the team of psychiatrists is like, yeah, we're in this guy's effing head. We're in, because they know he's not a stable human. They know he's not a stable human. Watch him at NATO. Here, let's play this clip right here.
No, I'm #1 on the kill list for Iran. They're lovely people. I'm #1. So I don't know. I can't tell you that, but I don't really care because I'm doing my job and I'm doing it, I hope, better than anybody's ever done it because we have a country that's hot.
And then they almost have him in when you identify with your captor, right? There's that, like where Trump is identifying with their torment. So like when Trump was at Camp David, Trump was like, I'm losing faith in them. They lie. They misrepresent. They hurt my feelings. They're hurting my feelings in the woman. Trump who lies about everything. Trump who killed their freaking Ayatollah, right? Trump who freaking killed, their other lead negotiator, Ali Laranjani. I mean, they killed all their people. And Trump's like, but they're being mean to me. And again, Iran's like, got it. We've got this guy freaking flailing. We got the U.S. president like a freaking local drunk. Here, play this clip.
Believe that you can reach a deal with Iran, given that you talked about how disloyal they are?
I'm losing faith in them because they do lie and they do misrepresent. Well, the other day, the 5 missiles were shot. We knocked.
And then Trump, again, this is where he identifies, with the captor. And he's like, I give him credit. They're strong. They're strong. They're strong people. And where Iran learned, I'm not going to play this. I'll play this clip, but I'm not going to play the other one. Iran learned this from the Houthis. When the Houthis were employing this strategy on Donald Trump back in May 2025 and Trump surrendered to the Houthis. Remember back in May on our aircraft carriers, it was like another F-35, another helicopter, another F-35 fell into the water. It was an F-15, another fighter jet fell into the water. I was like, I don't know. I think the Houthis are shooting. I don't believe the stories that these planes and helicopters just keep falling into the ocean. At the same time, Hegseth and Waltz were on those signal chats kind of talking. Just can you think about that? You don't think Iran was in those signal chats that Hegseth and Waltz and all those people were on? Iran is so damn sophisticated. Of course they were on those signal chats. They knew, and they were giving the information to the Houthis. Of course they were, in my opinion. First, I'll play this clip of Donald Trump saying, I give them credit. Then I'll tell you the Houthis. Here, play it.
Will it take some significant?
Well, you never know. Look, I mean, most people would have given up by now. They've got no Navy, they got no Air Force. Most people would have given up. They haven't. So I give them credit for that. I mean, they're known as being tough. They're tough.
And you can see other examples of the Iranian negotiators and leadership just getting in Donald Trump's head. So when Donald Trump was at Camp David, he was like, and when I speak to these Iranian negotiators, it's like they want to talk about nuclear for 7 hours. I'm like, let's just do it in 5 minutes. And then we do it for like an hour or two. And then I'm like, we talked about nuclear. And then they're like, we didn't talk about nuclear. And I'm just like, why do these guys say we didn't talk about nuclear? We talked about nuclear, man. Here, let's just play that. I mean, just before I play the clip, though. Yeah, you're talking about nuclear material. That's going to take more than 5 to 10 minutes, you idiot. And of course it's going to take hours. It may take days. It may take years. You think the JCPOA was done 5 minutes, or do you think they were pretty diligent, when talking about, I don't know, uranium enrichment? Here, play this clip.
But they'll make a deal. As an example, we'll talk about nuclear, and we'll be in there talking about nuclear for 7 hours. I say, why do you need 7? You can take 10 minutes. You have 5 minutes. You should solve it. But 7 hours, and then they'll go out, and I'll say they discussed nuclear, and they'll go out and they'll say we never discussed nuclear, and I say why did they say that? Well,
you get a headline last night. It'll be like, Trump is going to escalate. Wall Street Journal, Trump has given the kill orders. CBS, Trump is going to invade. It's going to be 12 days of brutal warfare. Okay, and then what does Iran do? Strikes a bunch of tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, right? Think about it. Trump's like, I'm gonna frickin' destroy you and blow you up and make you surrender. And what did Iran do last night? Strait of Hormuz, pop, pop, pop. Strait of Hormuz, pop, pop. Took out, I mean, it's not like that, but took out one tanker, took out another tanker. Other ones, they tried to use the U.S. tried to get these tankers to use the Oman route because, I don't know, I guess they're under the deranged delusion that when Trump threatens Iran, they're going to be scared. Okay, you could use the Oman route. Iran's like, nah, you got to use the IRGC route. I'm not going to let you use the Oman route. And so Trump destroys those tankers. And then would he leak to the Wall Street Journal? If there's progress in the diplomatic track, maybe I won't do the strikes anymore. Maybe if we make some progress in the diplomacy, I won't do strikes. And so Iran's like, yeah, gotcha. We need to escalate and continue to draw out the ballistics. And what we need to do, because the only language that Trump knows is like, the only thing he appreciates is just getting the shit beat out, beating him up, beating him down, threatening him, coercing him, twisting him, putting the screws in, right? Dropping the hammer. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing to him directly, making it very deeply personal. And, he ain't sleeping, obviously, right? He ain't sleeping. Well, he sleeps during the day, but at night when he's alone, what do you think is going through his head? That coward, that pathetic fool, that sexual predator. What do you think is going through it? Torment. And Iran knows it. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Breaking news right now, my brothers and I wrote a book. It's called WTF America. And well, doesn't that just say it all? It comes out officially this October, but you can pre-order your copy today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below.